Why do you feel that Babe Ruth is overrated?
Well, thank you for having me start. I mean, what it really comes down to is the hype around Babe Ruth. As fans of baseball, even if you're not a fan of baseball, you know of Babe Ruth, right? Sandlot was based on Babe Ruth's career and how big it was, and the man was great. I'm not denying that. I didn't deny it then. I'm not denying it now. Is he a Hall of Famer? Yes. Does he deserve to be a Hall of Famer? Yes. The issue I have is the deifying of Babe Ruth, which should not be. The man existed in an era where baseball was segregated. This country was segregated. They were not, the best of the best were not allowed to play. All right. So now you have people of color that are not allowed to be in a league, yet we consider him the best of the best. This guy did things that no one else could do when there were players doing things very similar to him in a league that were not allowed to be in his league as well. So the competition level is the pool, the talent pool is very different. So everything needs context. His stats need context. All right. Speaking about him in the way that we do deserves context. We put context on every other player when we speak about them in comparison to history, right? What gave them advantages? What gave them disadvantages? That is a huge advantage to me, to not be playing some of the best players that are out there solely for the color of their skin. Obviously not his fault. It was a unwritten rule, a gentleman's agreement, as it was called back then, that black players were not allowed to play in the league. All right, so that is why I stand on it. The idea that he is the end-all, be-all, when there was clearly a debate of who was the best players at the time, of people that were playing in the league, who were I guess not allowed to play in the league, are affecting his overall lore.
Okay, Eddie, what are your thoughts? You were the first to comment on it, and you basically hit like, Carl, I got to be on the segment. So, what are your thoughts on them calling Babe overrated?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even know why we're having this conversation, but I'll take it. I'll take the conversation. I understand everything Stefan said, right? Here's the problem that I have with that. If you want to get real, baseball wasn't completely integrated, at least to that extent, until 1964, right? Why? What happened in 1964? Anybody know?
My man's asking questions
I'll let you answer, Eddie.
Oh, he's asking questions like he's the teacher over here.
Got you. Well, I did a little bit of research. I wanted to put a little bit of respect on this, topic,
Please tell us.
But in 1964, for the San Francisco Giants, a relief pitcher named Masanori Murakami made his debut. First Japanese baseball player to ever play baseball in the major leagues. Okay, so if you want to say that integration, once again, it was shitty that you weren't able. I apologize if I'm not supposed to curse, but if you're saying that integration played a role and in the fame of Babe Ruth, that he didn't play against the best players, he didn't play against everybody or whatnot. Let's open it up. As of right now, what do people do in the off season when it comes to Japanese baseball players? They bid on them, right? They bid $50 million just to have a conversation. So that's a market. Okay, that market didn't start until 1964. Okay, as far as it goes, we're going to go ahead and say Willie Mays is overrated. Willie Mays played 10 years, 11 years after the integration of a Japanese ball player. I did the numbers on it. If you want to hear the numbers, I got the numbers of his 11-year career. And once again, I don't believe that Willie Mays is overrated, but according to not playing against everybody or a big market, or not everybody in the market, that counts for something, right? That's one piece. As far as it goes, Babe Ruth, he changed the game of baseball. How did he change the game of baseball? Baseball was a game of chess. Okay, what do? You get on base, hit and run, walk, score runs, steal bases, whatever, right? That's how baseball was played. Babe Ruth was able to hit a little bit of home runs. In the very beginning, they said, let's let him hit. What did he do? 1919, hit 29 home runs. What did he do 1920? 54 home runs. What did he do in 1921? 59 home runs. What happened? A decrease in steals, an increase in runs, an increase in home runs. Thus, he started the home run era. He started the chicks dig the long ball. Okay? He started the excitement. He was the face of, at that time, they weren't the Yankees. They got their prestige, okay, over the years. But if you're going based on who's the face of the New York Yankees, and New York Yankees are the most prestigious team, and I would say American sports, right? That counts for something. And he was he started the trend. Matter of fact, he's part of the reason that baseball was again saved in 1998 with the home run, right? Baseball was in the dumps, and then what happened? Mark McGwire hit home runs, Sammy Sosa hit home runs, and what happened? Baseball was saved. All in influence from who? Babe Ruth. I have a lot more, but you can continue. Go ahead.
All right. So, Greg, in your last in the Mount Rushmore edition, you said if Babe Ruth were to play in this era, he wouldn't get as many, hits or home runs. And you say it again, I'm sorry?
We stink.
Okay, but you know how I feel. Again, in the interest of fairness, you know how I feel about the if comment. So I just want to call it out there. We know there are no ifs in sports. They're only facts. So your shirt says facts. So talk to us.
Okay. So first things first, Eddie's last comment, there was a complete stretch that the resurgence in baseball in '98 was due to Babe Ruth hitting home runs.
So is your overrated comment. So that's okay.
Now, I let you speak. Now you let me.
No, you're good. I'm gonna shut up. I'm good.
The problem is, as soon as everyone hears overrated, they assume we are strictly talking numbers. When we call most players that are called overrated, if not all, are great players in some extent. It's how they're rated where it comes in. For example, Kawhi Leonard. There's a whole faction of people out there that believe if Kawhi Leonard wins a ring with his third team, he is then top 10 of all time. That would be overrating Kawhi Leonard, okay, to make him a top 10 player of all time. That doesn't mean he's not a great player. That doesn't mean he won't be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That just means he is overrated in how history rates him. That is what happens with Babe Ruth. If you're going to say someone, and there's some quotes from the group here, Babe Ruth saved baseball. When did baseball need saving back then? Babe Ruth is a baseball god. Babe Ruth is baseball, the most famous figure in sports history. This is like my brother spoke about. This is the deifying of a figure who didn't even play against the best, yet we are calling him the best to ever do it. How is that possible? That is how you overrate somebody. When you completely lack the context in the era which he played. And if you said, you know what, Greg, he was the greatest player of that era, I'm fine with that. Because this is not to say Babe Ruth, me and my brother never said he wouldn't be a Hall of Famer because of integration. I personally think he would still be a Hall of Famer if there was integration. But I do not think he would be deified the way he is, to where we put him on this pedestal like no one could ever be as good as him, when that just isn't actually the case.
TK, you're on the clock.
All right, so you are saying Babe Ruth is overrated. And you said you wouldn't put him on your Mount Rushmore, Greg, your Mount Rushmore, because he didn't play the best of the best because he played in the dead ball era. But he didn't play in the dead ball era. The dead ball era, well, he played a little bit in the dead ball era, but the dead ball era in 1920. So I'm having trouble really understanding, when were baseball players, because Stefan, you said the best of the best could not play, and that Babe Ruth would have a huge advantage. Those are your words. Because of that, before I start, I just want to know, when is the time period where baseball players are playing with the best of the best? I need that date from you guys in order for me to move forward.
So I can tell you. Let me go, Chris. I got this. So I would say when you're in the 50s and the 60s, actually more in the 60s, later, early to mid 60s, are you seeing that integration? There are about, I believe there was 20% of the league is players of color. That's when I see that there's like the competition level has increased, right? And that is what matters to me, right? And again, I'm gonna let you continue your point, but I would say you're not seeing baseball in full swing until about like late 50s, early to mid 60s.
Greg, do you agree with that?
I agree with that point, but I also think it has to, like we said, context matters in everything. There are, so each particular era has their best, right? But what we are specifically focused on is that in the 1920s, the best players in America were not in the league with Babe Ruth and the like. They were excluded. So it's very tough to say someone is the best if they're excluding other players that can compete.
Okay, so I agree with Stefan because the last team to integrate was the Boston Red Sox. They did not have anyone but white players on their team until 1959. Now, Jackie Robinson retired in 1956. So you guys, by that logic, would say that Jackie Robinson, therefore, must be overrated because he did not play the best of the best. Because I plan on putting Jackie Robinson #1 on my second baseman list when I do my Mount Rushmore. I want to know, do you guys really think Jackie Robinson is overrated because he did not play the best of the best? Is Jackie Robinson in the same class with Babe Ruth, where you can only say Jackie Robinson is the best of that era, but still he has his number retired by all of baseball?
I think that's real cute how you try to misconstrue what we're saying to prove
I'm not
your point.
misconstruing what you're saying. I am saying that you guys are saying he did not play the best of the best.
But here's the thing. Jackie Robinson, once he got in the league started to integrate. We're saying that in the 1920s, Babe Ruth did not play against anyone black. So by you admitting that when Jackie Robinson came into the league, better players came in, you are then proving our point about the 1920s.
I am not proving anyone's point. I'm saying that that's when the league integrated. I'm asking you what your opinion is on Jackie Robinson. Would you call Jackie Robinson one of the greatest of all time?
But you are trying to create a false narrative based on our
argument. I'm not
argument.
creating a false narrative. I'm going with what you guys have said.
Yeah. Here we go. I got it, Chris. Let me just get this. I'm sorry. So to answer your question, do I think Jackie Robinson is overrated? No, I would not consider Jackie Robinson overrated. We're not. You're trying to compare apples to oranges, right? Because like Jackie Robinson is not deified. What he did,
Jackie Robinson is 100% deified as he should be.
Listen. But not for just for his statistics. Because he broke the color barrier, right? His statistics are great, but it's not the Babe Ruth, right? The best player ever. No one ever say Jackie Robinson, right? Is Jackie Robinson the god of baseball? No, he is not. He's not put on the same pedestal as Babe Ruth. So let's not compare them as they're the same.
Well,
the reason that
I have previously said Jackie Robinson was the best.
Part of our argument was the reason that Babe Ruth is overrated is for how he is deified. If Jackie Robinson came into a league that was already integrated, we wouldn't be talking about him the same way. He was the first, which is why we speak about him in that manner. He had great numbers. Yes, there were better Negro League players than Jackie Robinson. He was just the best player to handle all of the crap and racism that was going to hit him, being the first of the black players to integrate into baseball.
Steph, can I ask you a question? I'm sorry.
Eddie, go ahead. Go ahead, because I was just going to come to you. Go ahead.
For Greg and Steph, right? You said that Babe Ruth did not play against anybody. He didn't play against the best, right? In the Negro League, name me his contemporary. Tell me who did what he did in Negro League in Major League Baseball. What Babe Ruth did in Major League Baseball. Who did that in the Negro League?
You want it?
Go ahead.
Please tell me. Set it up.
So I'm gonna put Oscar Charleston on there. Who, if it's baseball historians compare him to Babe Ruth, some even say that he was better than Babe Ruth. For the mere fact that for his average, I think he's a career 357 hitter. All right, this is something. And then when he went against white players in the major league, he was a 326 hitter. All right, so this is someone that held his own. It's not because I think some things that I heard in the chat were that we don't know if black players would play in the league if they would be good. Let's not entertain that. Another player I put on there is Josh Gibson. The man was an absolute animal. If you're talking about power hitters, see the issue with the Negro League is that the statistics weren't kept like the major leagues in the MLB. All right, so there's people that can contest it. There are a lot of, if you look online, numbers that kind of pop up. Josh Gibson is one that they put his career home run total from between 800 to 1,000. What are we even talking about? Who's in the 1,000 these days, right? No one's speaking about Josh Gibson like that. Oscar Charleston, if you speak to people that are aware of the Negro League, he was deified in the Negro League, right? But you don't know him. I don't think anyone else in this chat really knew him. I didn't know him until I looked it up because we don't have access to that information. Just because you don't know the names does not mean they were not crushing it. And and just let me finish here. To further my point, once the MLB integrated, you saw rapidly over time that a lot of these teams were taking on black players because they saw how good they were. Not like, they had to be in the minors for a couple years to really get used to the league. No, the Negro League was rivaling the MLB at one point. And not until integration in 1947 did you see the death of the Negro League because it was booming.